Hello, and welcome back to another episode here at Sharpshooter Wrestling. Today's new video is all about the big men of the WWE. If this is your first time here, consider elbow dropping that subscribe button and buckle up for a fun and entertaining good time. Over the years, there's been a ton of big men in the WWE, and today I'm going to narrow it down to my top 5. Taking the 5th position on my top 5 big men in WWE history, he's one half of the Brothers of Destruction. He's the devil's favorite demon. He's the big red machine. He is Kane. Oh, yes! Kane won plenty of gold over the years, but to get that gold, he had to beat the tar out of anybody who got in his way. He really knew how to light things up. See what I did there? When Kane's music hit, you knew somebody was about to feel some pain. I mean, Kane's debut at Bad Blood was to get revenge on his brother, The Undertaker. The big red machine ripped the door off the cell, confronting his brother in the middle of the ring, lighting the ring on fire before hitting The Undertaker with a tombstone piledriver. Kane would bury his adversary alive, put them in a coffin and set it on fire, and even meet them in a cell in hell if it meant he would pick up a victory. But more importantly to Kane, if it caused them pain and agony, he was all for it. He was a survivor of a house fire. Kane wore a mask and bodysuit to help hide the burns and scars he suffered, but he survived. So what chance would any WWE superstar have against him if he could walk into a fight with fire and walk out alive? Kane kicked ass of the biggest and baddest that the WWE had to offer. He was a monster in a world among men, and left many a challenger on many a nights, left lying on their backs looking up at the lights. The devil unleashed his favorite demon upon the superstars of the WWE. Kane has come and gone, but has left his mark and will forever be known as one of the big men of the WWE. Coming in the 4th position on my top 5 big men in WWE history, he has the grip and strength of a grizzly bear. He's the world's strongest man and founder of the Hall of Pain. He is Mark Henry. He won the moniker World's Strongest Man by winning the Arnold Classic in 2002. He has demolished such opponents as John Cena, Randy Orton, and many others with his World's Strongest Slam. His Olympian-type strength and intimidation has put a fear of God into many of his adversaries. After the 2011 draft, Henry turned heel, going on an absolute dominant run, first targeting the Big Show. A chair and the destruction of his opponent's leg was all the prerequisites Mark would call for a superstar to be entered into the Hall of Pain. Well, he wouldn't have to wait long to get his first few applicants, as Vladimir Kozlov, the Great Khali, and the Big Show were some of the first few to enter the Hall of Pain. If Mark accepted your application into the Hall, that meant you were immediately immobilized and put out of action. Mark Henry is a solid brick of hard muscle. If he wanted to, he could come out of retirement and have one more run, and he's good enough he could make it a championship run. All I'm saying here is if you want to fight, I would stay clear of Mark Henry, because unless you happen to be one of the other big men in wrestling, I'd think twice, just as long as you know going in, you could end up being the next performer to hobble your way down Mark Henry's Hall of Pain. Arriving in the 3rd position on my top 5 big men in WWE history, he's 7 feet 10 inches tall, weighing just under 400 pounds. He is a legend in the world of wrestling and possesses a weapon of mass destruction. He is no more BS Paul White. The guy is enormous, a massive giant. He is literally on his own level. It's like running into a cement barricade that's 7 feet 10 inches tall. Not to mention that right hand of his, once he clenches it up, it's like turning his fist into a weapon of mass destruction. Once it hits its target, night-night. Angry Paul White is the best Paul White. No BS Paul White. Oh, the puns. The Giant is an all-around threat to any championship holder, or really anybody on the roster. Those palm strikes across the chest of his opponent are just devastating. Like, for real. You want to try? Yeah, right, Jimmy. When he hushes the crowd and he drops that increasing fiery pain of a palm strike, you think a gun went off in the arena. It's just madness. The welts and bruises, I don't know how those guys do it. His punches to the body with each blow, weakening the legs and having the lungs work in triple time, is a perfect combination to set up the weapon of mass destruction. And if he really doesn't like you, you might get chokeslammed from a good 8 feet in the air. It's a fight you really don't want to have, unless it's for a title, and even then, you better have a foolproof plan, because if you don't, boom, it's lights out. Don't go offering this giant any magic beans, because if he's in a foul mood, you better stay well clear of him. Trust me, it's better for your health. It's time for the top 2 spots on my top 5 big men in WWE history. And taking the second position is the wrestler with the highest honor and respect in his class. He is the great Kokina Maximus. He is Yokozuna. Now we all know the Hitman is my number 1 favorite wrestler of all time. There were very few wrestlers who Brett would face that made me nervous, and that's because I could see them beating Brett, but Yokozuna was definitely on that list. All of Yoko's moves are blunt and impactful. His leg drop is crushing, while his neck hold is immobilizing. The Uranagi is so sudden, and his side belly-to-belly suplex is so confidence-shattering that most of his opponents don't even want to get up half the time. He is able to sustain pressure and focus, dominating and setting the pace in his matches. Yokozuna has that big fight feel of a performing prize fighter. He's got no stress about going after the big fish in the WWE either. He's had run-ins with Lex Luger, Macho Man Randy Savage, The Undertaker, and even my boy Bret the Hitman Hart. He's been the World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champion 2 times now, and he's also been the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champion twice now as well. Funny enough, both times his tag team partner's been Bret's younger brother, Owen Hart. So he knows how to hurt people and win championships. All the moves Yokozuna has in his arsenal are already overpowering. Then you add the brilliant mind of Mr. Fuji in the mix, just for that little bit extra salt in the wound, and Yoko is pretty much unstoppable. All I gotta say about Yokozuna, if you want to stay in the victory column, you better stay away from the corner. I say this because if he grabs your arm and drags your body to the corner, it's already too late. The next words you hear will be Banzai! Then your chest caves in with the big Samoan sitting on you, and all that's left is the ref to count to 3. To top the list of big men in WWE history, you need to be devastating and conquering by force. This next performer is just that, and he's taking the number 1 spot on my top 5 big men in WWE history. He is the Beast Incarnate, the 1 in 21-1. He is the next big thing. Wait, no, he was already the next big thing, but he's still a big thing. He is Brock Lesnar. In the history of the wrestling business, I don't know of another destructive and cataclysmic individual. Even if we went back through the circuits of time, I don't think we could find anyone else who could compete and defeat the Beast one-on-one. When Brock's music hits the speakers, you know someone is going to be getting a brutal beatdown, and nobody's excluded. Not the previous 4 on this list, nobody, period. If you can think of someone that can cause more damage and pain than Lesnar one-on-one, let us know in the comments. He's called the Conqueror for a reason. He's pure dominance of brute force strength. In college, he was a heavyweight champion, going a white-hot 106 victories to a mere 5 losses. The rise of the Beast was already on its way. Then he bursted onto the scene of the WWE as a Paul Heyman guy, devastating the People's Champion The Rock at SummerSlam, becoming the new WWE Heavyweight Champion in his very first championship match. Brock would then leave the WWE in 2007, preparing for an MMA career before signing with the UFC in 2008. He very quickly won the UFC Heavyweight Championship in 2009 against Randy Couture at UFC 91. The pattern with Brock? Anywhere he goes, he becomes champion. To this day, he's the only college, UFC, WWE, and IWGP heavyweight champion in history. That 1 in 21-1, that was Brock. The only one to defeat The Undertaker and his undefeated streak at WrestleMania 30. He's a gladiator from another time, another century. He takes on only the biggest of big men and the baddest of performers of the WWE. His relentlessness and determination to win, combined with a lights-out F5 finishing move and a trip for his opponent to Suplex City, has helped lead him to 10 WWE Heavyweight Championship title reigns so far in his career, with more to come, I'm sure. Suplex City is where the Beast Incarnate lives, and if you're brave enough to go there, you better bring your lunch and work boots and a few extra men for help. But honestly, that probably won't be enough. This is one beast you're better off staying well away from. He's not around often, but when he does appear, the outcome is already over. You just don't know it yet. He'll see you soon, Roman. Well, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your top 5 big men in the comments, and I'll see you next time.